Hello! Welcome to White Tarot, where the reader is bubbly and the readings can get dark. And apparently I have the patience of a silverback gorilla. This is actually take 6, because I keep yelling obscenities at the camera. That would probably get me kicked off of YouTube, because there is a certain sign that I keep picking up on. I keep picking up on like a very specific group of people for that sign. And they have their heads shoved so far up their ass that they have developed a whole new way of breathing. But there is only so many times that I can yell at that same group for the same thing. So, we're trying this again. I went and I cooked dinner. I got something in my belly. I'm a Taurus. Food always puts me in a better mood. So, we're trying this again. I am doing the 4th week of October 3-card general pulls for all zodiac signs, starting with Aries. All right. I already see it. I already see it. Repeat cards. We got 2. Okay. Okay. Freaking. You know what? I'm fed. I'm rested. I'm in a better mood. We're not yelling again. All right. Aries, and they're putting it a little nicer this time. Aries, what I'm seeing here is that you are trying to turn an emotional situation into a more intellectual one. Like you're trying to be logical in an emotionally charged state. And then we have the 7 of Cups, and that's about illusion and delusion and hidden things. It's kind of like it's like you're in a state of being spoiled for choice, but like not all of those choices or options are actually feasible or realistic. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles, which is about holding onto your resources, being a little more closed off, conservative. And then we got the 5 of Wands, and that's conflict. In this case, could be external or internal. I don't know. You guys are hotheads. So, Daughter of Swords being here, though, it feels like attempts are being made to try to tone down the emotionality. And when I say emotionality, I think it's often forgotten that anger is an emotion too. Denial is an emotion too. Avoidance is, well, it's technically an act, but it's based off of emotionality, you know, because when we let our emotions take over, people tend to do dumb things like doing irrational things to protect their egos, their pride. You know, I mean, I say this all the time. People would do the darndest things to protect their ego. And, you know, people go, they turn to substances. You know, they literally let people just walk right out of their lives as if they never mattered, when they matter a whole bunch to them, but they just didn't matter as much as protecting the ego. And so now I'm hoping, I think and I hope that this Daughter of Swords being here means that you are starting to turn a more discerning eye inward. This feels like a realization that there are things that not only you don't see, that you're refusing to look at. The 4 of Pentacles is coming across to me, you know, coming out with the 5 of Wands. It's coming across to me as like self-preservation, a hard focus on self-preservation. The thing that I'm going to say instead of yell this time is that when our egos are bruised, an ego is not a bad thing. It's not a completely bad thing. I don't believe that it's something that needs to die off or be erased or anything like that. But ego misfires is the thing. Ego is something that we can keep, but we have to tame. We have to control. We have to master. Because ego is what tells us when we have been disrespected. Ego is what tells us when we are being mistreated. Ego is what tells us, hey, You need to stand up for your dignity. But now, ego is also what protects us from pain. And for example, you get broken up with. Now your ego is going to kick in to try to protect you from that pain of rejection. And that ego is going to tell you, you didn't do anything wrong. It was all them. And it's going to spin the narrative. It's going to turn into delusion just to keep you safe from reality. The reality is that, why did the breakup happen? Why did someone that loved you so much leave you? And how positive are you that you didn't play a part in that at all? Now, I can't speak for every single scenario, but just an example. How positive are you that it's not just your ego shielding you from reality? How positive are you that you are seeing things objectively, you are seeing things clearly, and not from the lens of self-preservation? Because that's when the ego kicks in. When we are rejected, when we are ashamed. And to master the ego is to say, shh, hold on, let this cook. What could I have done better? Now, this doesn't mean that you have to run and reconcile with that person. This doesn't even mean that you have to fix it with that person. This just means that you have to learn from the experience and become better for it. And ego can get in the way of that. Because every experience can be a learning opportunity if we turn it into one. I don't believe in the saying that pain makes us stronger or whatever. Pain makes us traumatized sometimes. Pain makes us weirder. Pain makes us a little bit distorted. It's not pain that makes us stronger, it's us. When we choose to take these experiences and become better people for it and move forward and onward, that is how we become stronger. So Aries, with the Seven of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, there's a conflict here that you are protecting yourself from so hard that you're not seeing the bigger picture. But with the Daughter of Swords, there's a little bit of hope here that you're heading in the right direction, or you're starting to. Wheel of Fortune. Thank God. The Wheel of Fortune is the Wheel of Karma. The Wheel of Fortune is fated events based on your decisions. You don't have to be honest with anyone else. You don't have to be honest with me. But you have to be honest with yourself. When you hear the word karma, does that scare you or excite you? Some things that are coming to mind right now is that karma is very scary to people that protect themselves with deception and secrets. But you can't fake your frequency. And you can't hide from the universe. So what kind of fated events do you think will happen for you? That is the question here. And I'm saying this as nicely as I can. I really recommend that the specific group of Aries people that I have been tapping into straighten up before it arrives. Now, the fact that I have been tapping into the same shithead energy for the longest is not fair to the other Aries watchers on this channel. So, I will go ahead and pull another spread, specifically for the non-shithead Aries people. I will try to bypass the energy that I keep tapping into and tap into you guys instead. Nice. Nine of Pentacles. The Tower. I guess it's a 5-card pull for you guys. You deserve it. You deserve the extra cards. After all this channel have put the rest of you through for the sake of the small group of shitheads. All right. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles, the Tower, Strength, Son of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. This is telling me that, not gonna lie, 4th week of October, we might be looking at a Tower moment that could cost you some of your pentacles. With Strength, though, it feels like you persevere. And you persevere from a place of the heart. As in, the Strength card represents strength that comes from love. It comes from the heart. And when you are motivated by your heart, you can't go wrong. With the Son of Cups being here too, it kind of verifies that. Seven of Pentacles is about a period of contemplation, thinking about where you want to invest your pentacles. So we go from the 9 to the 7. So it does feel like there is some loss here materially with the Tower. But it's like you take what's left and you go, okay, now where do I want to go? With Pluto going direct, Pluto is also a very transformative planet. It feels like a whole new playing field. Yeah, with justice. And I got chills going down this way when I saw justice. It feels like you're getting shaken into where you were always meant to be. Yeah, that's what that feels like. It's like, let's say you've always really liked animals, right? But you've always worked at the post office and you've been laid off a couple times and you keep winding up at post offices. So you've done postal work forever. That's where you've always been. And it's a steady job, it's stable, but your real passion is elsewhere. Let's say it's animals, okay? And then the Tower shakes you up, you lose your job, and you're like, okay. And then there's that period of time where you're not getting paid, right? And unemployment pays a percentage less than what you make. And then you end up going, maybe this is a sign or something, because I've never been able to just hold on to the post office jobs. This keeps happening to me. But I always go to the same type of work. Maybe it's time, I've got a little bit of wiggle room to take a bit of a pay cut or something. But I wanna do something that's closer to my heart. And then so you take a job that pays a little less after really thinking about it. You're like, can I afford this? Do I really want to invest 8 hours a day in this? And with the Justice card, it's like you find something that clicks into place. Like, let's say you take a job at a doggy daycare center, or you become an animal groomer, or you take a job at a vet clinic, or, it just so happens that your local SPCA is hiring full time. That's what this feels like. It's like the Tower moment is shaking you into something that feels more like you, something that feels more fulfilling. Good. Love to see it. So for the non-shithead Aries, it looks like your dream might look like a little bit of a downgrade, but your dreams are coming true. It's something that, might not have as good benefits, might not pay as much, but it's something that you actually feel like you're contributing something to the world, or like you're living more aligned with your purpose. And the job thing's just an example. I have no idea what the Tower is going to take away from you, but the point is that the Tower only strikes when your foundation isn't steady, when you've built a life on a faulty foundation. And it comes to shake things up so that you can build better this time. So think of this as an opportunity to do things differently. to do things better this time around. Because that's the point of life-shaking moments like this. Forward and onward and upward. Strength to me also looks like bravery, so you'll be all right. I mean, you're an Aries. Aries are trailblazers. Aries people are brave. They're the ones that go in head first. So you'll be okay. All right. Moving on to Taurus. Okay. Nice. 10 of Cups, the Magician, and the Four of Wands. This is excellent energy for Taurus because we Taurians love stability. The Four of Wands is about stability. The Four of Wands is a culmination of all of your efforts. It's the graduation, marriage ceremony card. Like, it is the congratulations, everything that you've done, this is what it resulted in. 10 of Cups is emotional fulfillment. So it looks like you've been building a life for yourself that is more aligned with your purpose. And it is finally coming to fruition. The Magician card being here, the Magician is about manifestation. The Magician, I know like some people say it's the trickster card, but it also represents Taurus actually. And Taurians, fun fact, are very good at manifestation. We seem to have a knack for it. So manifestation happens when you align your energy, your frequency with what it is that you want to attract. And manifestation might not be as smooth as a lot of people think it is, because when you align your frequency with what it is you want, it doesn't mean that what you don't want is just not going to approach you. That's not how this works. Like, it's not bug spray. But when you align with what it is that you want, and you are less willing to budge, less willing to compromise what it is that you want, then the quicker you say no to what it is that you don't want. And it's almost like having a seat open right next to you. Let's say you're trying to manifest a partner, right? It's like you have a seat open right next to you and people keep trying to sit in it. And if you let someone sit in it and you spend so much time talking to them and then you end up arguing with them, the longer you stay in that argument, the longer that seat is occupied, right? So let's say someone comes in and they're like, hey, is this seat taken? And you're aligned with that frequency, and you can spot pretty quickly, like, okay, yeah, sure, sit, and then they sit, and then you spot something that you don't like. You're like, get out of the seat, move. This seat is reserved for someone that is worthy of sitting in it. That's how manifestation works. So Taurus, it feels like the 4th week of October is going to be a powerful week for us as far as manifesting what it is that we want. I'm excited to see this. I hope you guys are excited to see this. Can't wait to see what we get. All right. Moving on. Gemini. I just saw the 9 of Swords come up. Oh, and the Father of Pentacles. Okay. Oh, ooh, and the Father of Cups. Okay. All right, Gemini. It looks like the 9 of Swords is here for your 4th week of October. The 9 of Swords is a card of like anxiety, depression, but it's self-imposed thoughts. It's not giving me external threat. It's not giving me you're under duress. This gives me you're stuck in your head. With the Father of Cups and the Father of Pentacles being here, it feels like the 4th week of October is going to be a week where you're going to really need to remember to ground in the things that you love, ground in, for some reason what's popping up is gratitude. So I'm a psych grad, and in one of our projects for class, we had to do a gratitude journal. And the thought process behind that is that we had to, at the end of every day, write down 3 things through the day that we were grateful for, and then do like a paragraph or 2 about why. And so when you keep doing that at the end of every day, your brain kind of rewires itself to look for reasons to be grateful. And it's amazing how well it worked. I tried it. Everyone in class tried it, and we were all just happier. We were all just happier people because we spent our days looking for reasons to be grateful instead of focusing on negative things. And I like to say that the opposite of negativity is not positivity, it's gratitude. Because positivity, I have unfortunately associated it with toxic positivity. It feels like bypassing. It feels like blind optimism. It feels false. It feels forced. But now gratitude is something that really, in my experience, sinks in. Gratitude is looking for reasons to be grateful rather than what's going wrong in our lives. And that, to me, I think, in my experience, is the quickest way to a steady, grounded energy. It's the long-term fix for this kind of 9 of Swords mentality. So, Gemini, if you're stuck in this kind of energy where you're stuck in your head, you're ruminating a lot, you're stuck on a loop, try to do the gratitude journal thing. I really recommend it. Again, all you have to do at the end of the day, write in a notebook 3 things that you were grateful for, and then brief explanation as to why. It's the why part that really makes it stick, because then you sit and you reflect on that gratitude at the end of every day. Even just doing it for a week made a world of difference for me and my classmates. All right, that's all the advice I have for you for the 4th week of October. All right, now, Cancer. Okay. We've got Justice, 7 of Pentacles, and the Son of Cups. Huh. You know what? The Son of Cups with the 7 of Pentacles and Justice. This looks a lot to me like, let me verify. Yeah. 6 of Swords is about the rainbow after the storm. 7 of Pentacles is a period of contemplation. Where do you want to invest? Son of Cups is heart energy. That's Knight of Cups. It's an offering. Justice feels like making things right is kind of the wording that popped up in my head. This feels a lot like Cancer. It's like I'm not sensing any recent conflict. I'm not sensing anything recent. That it's more like a melancholy that I'm feeling. Like maybe you've been kind of really feeling your feels lately, and there's something in your life that you need to straighten out. And maybe, with the 6 of Swords being here, maybe there was a lot of rage, or, because the 6 of Swords is kind of the aftermath of a battle, right? It feels like there are some old wounds that need to be talked through. It's a very unique energy. Now, I don't know if you were done wrong or if you were the one that did wrong or what went wrong here, but this feels like You know the kind of vibe that I'm getting right now? It's really weird. It's like what I'm picturing is someone that maybe has always had beef with their parents. I mean, they have a good enough relationship, but it's like they've always kind of held their tongue. And maybe there was like a lot of initial rage associated with it. Like when you think about it, it makes you mad. But it's like you're going to go visit your folks, and instead of rehearsing like a, you know what, this is how I've always felt about you and I hate you, this feels more like a, like I see someone practicing in the car how to tell a parent in a way that's more productive and conducive to healing how much they've been hurt, if that makes any sense. Well, you know what? Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday time is coming up. So, I mean, it's possible, like, if you're visiting your folks for the first time in a long time, that you might be rehearsing in the car to say, like, hey, I've actually never been cool with this, but I want to talk through this so that we can have a better relationship. Like, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting here. It's like somebody that's practicing how to offer their cup to make things right. This doesn't even feel like an apology. That's the thing. It feels like something in between. Oh, you know what else this feels like? This feels like maybe some withheld emotions. Like maybe you care about someone deeply but never showed them, and you want to do that. Well, whatever this is, Cancer, I am proud of you, because hard conversations are hard. Hard conversations are awkward. It's kind of like, hey, can you pass the butter? Oh, yeah, by the way. It's like kind of like, when do you even bring it up kind of thing? Like, conversations like this are never easy to have. And this fur is just going to live on my neckline forever. Anyway, conversations like this are never easy to have. And, people tend to just skirt around the awkward things. People tend to just skirt around the hard talks that they don't want to have, because, that's the thing. When you try to open up a conversation like this with somebody, it puts you in a very vulnerable place. And I say that because they could gaslight you, they could deflect, they could start an argument when you didn't intend for it to turn into an argument. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong when you bring up the hard conversations. And I guess that's why you're rehearsing it so hard in your head, because you want to get it just so. But I will tell you this, even if it does go wrong, it's okay. It's not all on you. Sometimes we can do all the mental gymnastics that we want to try to get someone to understand our perspective. But communication is a two-way street. We can try to articulate ourselves as best as we can and try to skirt around, the other person's ego or ouchy spots. But they kind of have the responsibility of doing their best to understand you, because the other half of communication is comprehension. And maybe we don't always get it right, but there's something to people that have learned how to say, I don't understand. I'm still trying to see the best in you. And so, like, I don't think that you're necessarily saying something to hurt me, but my feelings are hurt anyway, because this is how I'm understanding it. It takes both people being level headed enough to strive for understanding each other better. That's the problem that we see in communication nowadays, is a lot of people are just self-preservation and attack. A lot of people don't know how to talk without attacking, and a lot of people don't know how to receive with an open mind. There's a lot of times that people, but you know what, when they do that, they're acting out on their own shame. That's a them thing. That's not a you thing. So don't take it personally, even if this doesn't go well. I really hope that this goes well for you, because that's a brave thing that you're trying to do. But even if this doesn't go well, keep in mind that you did your part. And at least you can get that much off your chest. All right? All right. Moving on to Leo. The Empress, High Priestess. Wow. Okay, Five of Cups and the Hanged Man. All right. All right. Leo, it looks like Five of Cups popped up for you in your last reading too, in your October second half reading. But with the Hanged Man being here, it looks like you're looking at things from a different lens. Because the Five of Cups is about kind of crying over spilled milk. You know, it's the dried up watering hole that you keep returning to kind of energy. Beating a dead horse. You know, but with the Hanged Man being here, it's like you had that aha moment, or you're having that aha moment, and you're starting to embody a very different energy. The last time I read on the Leos, the energy was of Leos that kind of lost their sparks. You know, Leos that aren't embodying what makes Leos so amazing, which is their self-love and their shine and their vibrance. You know, Leos, to me, you know, they're represented by the Strength card in the deck. And to me, the Strength card is about power that comes from the heart. It comes from love. It's courage, not brute force. And to embody that kind of energy is to be confident, is to be loving, but firm. Leos, fully bloomed, know their worth, and they stand in it, and they inspire others with it. But the Leos that I tapped into a few days ago were losing that about themselves out of love. You know, it was the type of Leo that started putting other people first so much that they lost themselves a little bit in that. With the Hangman, I think you're starting to see that. You're starting to see, for some reason, what's coming to mind is a reflection in the mirror that you no longer recognize. It's almost like I'm seeing a woman who is looking in the mirror to brush her teeth or something. And it's like she's just been so lulled into that being the norm that she never noticed. But it's like one day she looks in the mirror and she goes, I didn't realize that I looked this tired. Yeah, I didn't realize that I had the bags under my eyes this heavy. Like, who even is this? That's what I'm picturing. And with that, it seems like you're returning to your Empress energy, your High Priestess energy. This is someone that stands in her power. She is all of the queens in the deck combined. And the High Priestess is someone that is intuitive, powerful. She's independent. She's strong. I love seeing that. I love seeing that. Whoa. Two of Swords, the blindfold card, the Devil, the Five of Pentacles. You know, this popped up a lot in the initial readings for Leo, where I kept reminding the Leos that there's something toxic that they need to leave behind. It looks like with the Hanged Man, all of that's coming with it. As in, with the realization of just how worn down you've become, and a new spark, a motivation to return to your former glory. is coming the release of all the things that wore you down, all the things that got you there to begin with, which is the Devil, the Five of Pentacles, and the Two of Swords. Turning a blind eye to the things that were ruining you, corroding you, slowly. So slowly that you didn't even notice until one day you just did. This is kind of a turning my life around energy. And I love that for you. With Pluto going direct on the 13th, or having gone direct on the 13th, I could see it because Pluto is a deeply transformational planet. And what I'm seeing here is a Leo that's finally saying, enough. I've become someone that I don't even recognize. And that's quite enough. Now remember, Leo, in restoring yourself, don't ever think that that's a selfish thing to do. It's not. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to earn love. I like to say that there is a spot on this planet for everyone. Take up space. It's okay to. Because you are not put here on this planet, born to the zodiac sign that represents courage, just to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Okay? All right. Moving on to Virgo. I'm going to give this a nice little shake up. Okay. Father of Swords, Two of Wands, and the Father of Pentacles. Let me pull some clarifiers. Like, I know that this should be blatantly obvious to me, and it kind of is, but I don't know why you're in this situation. I see. Okay, Virgo, it looks like you're stuck between two selves. Yeah, it's selves that's coming to mind. Like, I see someone that's almost like split in half and trying to decide which self to operate from. I say that because the Father of Swords is someone that is discerning. You know, they're very thinky. They're very logical, rational, a little bit cold. The Father of Pentacles is someone that operates from generosity. So I just heard someone say picking up the pieces. It's like you're trying to help someone else come out of a tough situation. Seven of Pentacles is a period of contemplation, trying to decipher where you want to invest your pentacles in. Okay, this might be for a very specific Virgo, but what I'm getting is like, it's like, let's say your bestie got kicked out of her house. She has 2 kids and a dog. And you're like, okay, now do I want to help her get back on her feet by letting her stay with us? You know, the Father of Pentacles, generosity. Or do I help her figure out where she can go? Do I maybe just give her a ride to that place if she doesn't have her car anymore? It's kind of that kind of dynamic that I'm picking up on here. This is very specific. It's like there's a part of you that wants to be generous, and there's another part of you that maybe knows that this person has a tendency of staying longer than they're welcome or taking advantage, and you're trying to be discerning about the situation, and you're trying to figure out where your boundaries are in this. Yeah, that's what this feels like. This is really specific. Because the 6 of Swords, it doesn't feel like it happened to you. It feels like you're almost a bystander and someone else is standing in the aftermath of a battle kind of thing. Yeah, that's right. I drink milk straight out of the bottle like a psychopath. Deal with it. Anyway, yeah. Now, I can't tell you what to do. I mean, it's your resources, it's your situation, it's your friend or family member or whoever this is to you. But my solution to situations like this is why not a little bit of both? Balance is almost never the wrong answer. So it's okay to give a little, as much as you're willing to give, but it's also really important to be discerning, but not so closed off. I think a good thing to ask yourself is, now if I look back, am I going to regret the decision that I'm making right now? So, for example, if you turn your friend away later on, are you going to kick yourself for it? Or are you going to think, yeah, I did the right thing? Or if you tell your friend, okay, you can stay with me, but just for like a week or two, and then I will need you out, or we're going to need to find you a place and you're going to need to jump on it, kind of thing. Like whatever your boundaries are is up to you. Because part of you really feels like you want to give to this, but another part of you feels afraid of getting taken advantage of. And I think that that's fair. You're just protecting yourself and your resources, and that's not a bad thing. But yeah, you'll find a balance somewhere in the middle. Moving on to Libra. All right, what do we got going on for the Libras for the 4th week of October? 2 of Swords, the blindfold card, Hanged Man, and Hermit. Wow, this is really closed off energy. Because the 2 of Swords is about indecision, or kind of being in a place where it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh no, I don't know where to go, kind of thing, with a blindfold on. Hangman is about seeing things from a different perspective, can also be perceived as being stuck. You know what? That actually dinged something in me. So the Hangman card is often seen as being stuck, but the backstory of the card is that he hung himself there. He tied a rope around his foot, and he's holding the rope that's hanging his foot up in that branch so that he could see things from a different perspective. So this almost feels like a reminder that, hey, all you have to do is take the blindfold off. All you have to do is take the rope off or release the rope. It's with the Hermit here. The Hermit's about withdrawing into your energy and coming out with enlightenment. But the Hermit's that process where you turn inward and you try to find the answers inside of you. And maybe that's what the Hangman's trying to say. Seeing things from a different perspective. It's like you're feeling stuck, but are you really? And in your stuckness, is there something that you need to address there? Like, for example, let's say you want to get a CDL license. I know it's the most random example, but let's say you want to get a CDL license. You want to get into truck driving. You've wanted to for a while. You think that it's a good profession, it's steady and you make good money and whatever. But let's say you keep saying, "Oh yeah, I haven't gotten around to going to the DMV," you know? And then so when people ask, like, have you gotten your CDL license yet? You're like, no, I haven't made it out to the DMV. I'm stuck. I can't be a truck driver yet. People ask, I thought you were going to go be a truck driver. And you're like, no, I'm stuck. I haven't gone to the DMV. And saying that so often became habit almost. And being stuck, not being able to be a truck driver yet, has almost become chronic, just a chronic state of being. It's like I'm stuck and I can't do the thing that I want to do. But to be able to do the thing that you want to do, you have to do another thing that you've just been avoiding or you haven't been looking at. Maybe you hate the DMV so much that you don't want to go there. But that's the hurdle that you have to jump over in order to do what it is that you want to do. So it's kind of like you're stuck, but you're not really stuck. You're just not doing the thing that you need to do, but you don't want to. And it's like when you turn inward and you actually stop and think about where you're stuck, you come to realize that the thing that's keeping you stuck is you. It looks like you're making your way out because the Hermit, again, it comes with a lantern that you end up emerging with. So there is some hope. I'm seeing light at the end of the tunnel here. But maybe this was just the push that you needed. That staying stuck is going to be harder than ever right now. So, Libra, if there's something or some area in your life that you feel stuck on, think about it. Why are you really stuck? Is it all external circumstances? Or do you have some say in where you go? Because I find that oftentimes, even when external circumstances are unforgiving, with enough grit, with enough resilience, with enough oomph, people can wiggle their way out of some pretty dicey situations. Oftentimes, it takes a lot of work. It takes some creativity. It takes some thinking outside the box. It takes, meeting the right person sometimes. But generally speaking, even in the worst case scenarios, we aren't as stuck as we often think we are. And I think that people do that because it's easier to blame circumstance or karma or some kind of higher power with a plan of some sort than to realize just how much say we have in the trajectory of our own lives. And I hope that my whole spiel is empowering to you, because that seems to be what you need right now. All right, moving on to Scorpio. Father of Cups, Six of Cups, Seven of Swords. Why is the Seven of Swords here? Seven of Pentacles. Oh, I see. Scorpio, there seems to be something in your energy that's touching on a root or a nerve. Something that is deeply embedded in your psyche. An example that's coming to mind is, but it's something that you love. It's something that you care about deeply. I say that because of the Father of Cups. But an example that's coming to mind is, let's say I have an old injury on my knee. And it never healed right. It still hurts to this day when it's poked. And I get a puppy. And the puppy likes to try to stand on my knee. And it keeps touching that spot that hurts when touched. But I love this puppy. And I know that it's not intentionally trying to hurt me. But when we experience pain, physically or emotionally, people tend to get a little sharp. Seven of Swords is about distrust, sneakiness. I would even call it malice because it's intentional harm. Seven of Pentacles is about contemplation, trying to decide where you want to invest, or in this case, if you want to continue to invest in something that is hitting you just right, that it's drudging up all of your shadow. That's what this feels like. But you know that whatever this is that is triggering you, to embody the Seven of Swords, is something that isn't intending to do all that to you. Like, it's not intentional. This is literally it. It's being triggered, and the person that's triggering you often doesn't know that they're triggering you. They don't know that they're hurting you. It's inadvertent, and it's more to do with your experiences than what's happening in the moment. It's a moment where you get poked just right, that you just time travel back in your mind to when you were hurt in that specific way. And in moments like that, people tend to lash out, people tend to act out of character. But the Scorpio that I'm tapping into feels like they are self-aware enough to know that that's not the right course of action. The correct course of action here would be to calmly explain that something that they do is triggering something else in you. And then now you could ask them to stop, or if it's not a situation where you can ask them to stop because what they're doing isn't necessarily wrong, it just hits you in a very specific, certain way, you can still talk through it and say, this triggers me. And, with enough safe experiences, the nervous system heals. That's something that's coming to mind right now, is that what they often forget about in traditional therapy is the process that people have to go through in then healing their nervous systems after their minds have been organized. Because we talk through things in therapy, and it becomes a little easier to talk about without getting so emotional, and it's a way to organize our thoughts so that we can be a little more grounded, without our thoughts eating us alive every time we think back to them. But what happens after that is lived experience and time healing our nervous systems. So this feels like you can talk through it. And you can say, hey, my nervous system is still healing. These are the impulses that I have when I'm triggered in that way. I'm just giving you a heads up that I'm going to need some patience. And that's okay to ask for if it's someone that cares about you. And anyone that cares about you is going to want to help you heal. They are going to want to show you those safe healing experiences so that your nervous system can finally register that whatever that this is that keeps triggering you, it's a misfire. It can stop now. Okay? That was oddly deep and specific, but that's what I got for the Scorpios for the fourth week of October. Now let's go on to Sagittarius. Ten of Cups. Son of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. So, Sag, what I'm getting here, this is also oddly specific, but it's almost like you've gotten something in your life that brings you emotional fulfillment, emotional abundance. And it's like you finally feel right again, is what's popping up in my head. With the Son of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles, though, that's about your harvests coming in. That's about the fruits of your labor coming in slowly. Son of Pentacles is also kind of something that takes time, is what's coming to mind. So it's like the emotions are there now, but the backbone is still forming. The tangible parts of it are still growing. So let's say, for example, you opened up a store, and you're like, yay, I opened up a store. This was the dream. This was what I've always wanted, but you got overhead. You put a lot of money in that. And so you're not going to make a profit in the first month. You're not going to make a profit maybe for the first couple months. You're going to be earning back what you put into it and keeping it running. And that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting here. It's like the emotional fulfillment is there, the excitement is there. But like the more tangible, solid parts of it are still growing and catching up to, for some reason, they're saying the giddiness that you feel. That's good though. I mean, harvest coming in, it doesn't feel like something that's going to flop. It feels like something that's just going to take a little more time to get to full fruition, where it's a 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles situation. So another thing that's coming to mind, and I think that I don't remember if the Son of Pentacles came out in the last Sag reading that I did or not, titled Happy Endings Are for Those Who Don't Quit. But this feels almost like a continuation of that. I say that because the Son of Pentacles he's hanging his head down. His eyes are on the ground. So I know this is showing up as Pentacles, but this also almost feels like the healing aspect of things. The Pentacles is about tangible stuff, yes, but with the way that the Son of Pentacles looks, and the way that it's the Six of Pentacles that's coming in, I just heard the phrase growing into it. So going back to the store analogy, let's say you opened up the shop and you're running it and you're like, man, I don't know if, I can keep this place running in the long run. I'm not confident. But the feel is that confidence will grow with time. If you just show up every day and you run the shop, it's going to be a slow and steady climb, but you're there with an already fulfilled dream. And it's just a matter of your mind catching up to that fact that the first step was to make it happen. Now it's a steady climb. I think I'm getting too far deep into the analogies here, but all of this is an analogy for an emotional process. This feels like something that with time you can grow into. and you can gain your fire back. But some feelings are abrupt. Some feelings take time. And the feel that I get here is that the challenge is taking off the pressure to have it all figured out, to feel like you're supposed to be feeling a certain way. Taking off that pressure and allowing yourself to feel what you feel and being open to the way that those feelings will transition over time. Yep. I was half here, half not, so I don't even know if any of that made sense, but I hope it did. So, moving on to Capricorn. What do we got for the Cappies? Son of Swords. Oh. Three of Wands. And the Ace of Wands. Okay, cool. So I think the last reading that I did for Capricorn was like 7 minutes long. It was so short and sweet. And it looks like that's happening again. But for the 4th week of October, we're looking at Son of Swords, fast communication, sudden news. Three of Wands is about opportunities on the horizon, new horizons, opportunities coming in, etc., etc. Ace of Wands is about new, inspired action. So it looks like something new is beginning for the Capricorns on the 4th week of October. And good luck on your new ventures. Moving on, because that was a pretty that was pretty short and sweet, and that was just quick because it's to the point, I guess, as you guys like it. So, moving on to Aquarius. Four of Swords, Eight of Swords, the Tower. Aquarius. The Four of Swords is about contemplation. It's kind of the resting, rejuvenating, kind of just staying put while I figure stuff out kind of energy. And the Eight of Swords is also about being stuck and not moving. There's no action cards here. And it's all also seems to be a mental process. So the Eight of Swords to me is also the growing under pressure card, because you got all these swords pointing at this cocoon, and if that butterfly emerges too soon, it's just going to come out as goo. If it emerges too late, it's probably not going to emerge at all. It's just going to be stuck there and die. So this is also about timing. This is kind of the reminder that, like if you're stuck, but don't stay there for too long kind of card. And then we have the Tower. And the Tower is external forces coming in to shake up your foundation. So the vibe that I'm getting here is that you're contemplating something, you're thinking really long and hard about something. There's a lot of mental energy going into this. But the warning here is that if you stay in that thinking energy for too long without actually making a move, the choice will be made for you. Because that's what the Tower is. If you build on a faulty foundation, the Tower comes in, shakes your foundation, everything crumbles to the ground for you to build back up again from nothing. It's an opportunity, yeah, but it's kind of going the hard way, when the easier way would be you go ahead and move. Because this tells me that there's something in your life that you know is not supposed to be there. There's something in your life that you know you need to make a move on. But I think that the part that you don't realize is that the clock is ticking. So this Tower card is the warning. Make a move before the move gets made for you. All right. Now moving on to the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. 5 of Cups, 10 of Cups, and the 6 of Pentacles. I just got, as I was taking a sip of my cinnamon vanilla milk, a full sentence from the spirits. And they said, grieve not what you don't have. Rejoice in what you do. With the 5 of Cups being here, the 5 of Cups is, the crying over spilled milk, beating a dead horse, returning to a dried up watering hole energy. 10 of Cups is about emotional abundance, fulfillment. 6 of Pentacles is your harvests coming in. So, which sign did I talk about this with? Was it Gemini? I think I just talked about it with Gemini. But there was a project that we did in school, in one of my psychology classes, where we were asked to write a gratitude journal. And so the process was that we write in the journal at the end of every day 3 things that we were grateful for and a paragraph or 2 on why. And that rewired our brains to look for things throughout the day to be grateful for, rather than focusing on the negatives. So going from the crying over spilled milk to 10 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, this is almost a reminder, like, you keep going to that dry watering hole, but you have a whole oasis over there. If you just take 2 steps yonder, there's a whole watering hole over there. Like, that's the kind of energy that I'm getting with this. So it's almost like maybe you just needed a reminder of just how abundant your life really is. Maybe you should try the gratitude journal thing. Because I like to say the opposite of negativity is not positivity. It's gratitude. And maybe you've been getting sucked into the bad stuff too much lately, that it's almost like your life is starting to feel a lot worse than it really is. And we all have those moments, when something bad happens and everything just feels terrible. But then if we step out of that energy for a minute and look around, we're like, oh, you know what? Actually, my life is pretty good. One thing that really grounds me, as pathetic as this sounds, is my dogs. I could be having the worst day and I come home and they're both just like booping me with their noses and their butts are wiggling and they're just so excited. And just having these 2 little beings that are so excited to see me every single day. I mean, heck, I take a shower. I'm gone for like 15, maybe half an hour. And I come out and my beagle acts like he hasn't seen me in years. Having just someone just so hardcore for you is just the best feeling ever, And so, and I've been through brain surgery. I've been through it, but those 2 always ground me. So maybe there's something like that in your life that you need to revert your attention back to. That's all this feels like. It doesn't feel like anything too acute. It just feels like a slipping mindset that needs to be brought back to equilibrium. So, all right, that's what I got going on for you, Pisces, for the 4th week of October. If you liked what you saw here today, please feel free to like, share, comment to help me out with the algorithm, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you get notified every time I post a video. And I'll see you in the next one.